I was about 8 years old when it all started. I was always a quiet child, never wanted to be the center of attention. My mother, on the other hand, was a happy, loud woman with so much power inside of her, and she was never afraid to show it. I've never met my father and don't know who he is, but I never felt like I was missing out on something. It was one day in summer that I found it in our backyard. It was a small box made out of wood. The strange thing about it is that it was sealed and it had all kinds of patterns burned on it. This box is the reason why I am where I am now, but we'll come to that later. I took the box with me. It was so beautiful with all those patterns, and I didn't think about anything bad when I took it home with me. I put it beside my bed and left it there. But as soon as this thing was in my house, my nightmares started. Every single night I would wake up screaming at the top of my lungs, bathed in my own sweat. I would dream of monsters and creatures that would eat me alive, tear me or my mother into pieces, the end of the world, ghosts and demons. There was no night without a nightmare, and that went on for more than a month. I wasn't able to sleep anymore. I hated sleeping more than anything else. My mother would sleep beside me every night. She even tried bringing me to a doctor, but I was a healthy child. Nothing was wrong with me. One night, everything changed. I was about to go to bed, laid down and fell asleep very fast. That night I didn't have a nightmare. No, that night I was about to find out why I was having all these nightmares the nights before. That night I dreamt about the box. It appeared in my dream. I still remember it very well. I was in a room and everything was white. There were no windows, no door, nothing except for 4 white walls. In the middle of the room was the box. I was seeing myself in my dream, wearing a black long dress, standing in front of the box. I was looking down at it, smiling. The box started to turn itself and glow. All of a sudden I heard screams. Loud, awful screams. I got scared and held. My ears shut with my hands, closing my eyes. Seconds after, the screaming stopped and the box opened. I opened my eyes and my ears and bent over to see what was inside. In this moment, a strange kind of dust came flying towards me. I inhaled it and felt a strong burning inside my lungs. The burning then went into my brain, making me fall to the ground. The screaming started again. I laid there on the floor, not able to move. My eyes were closed, my ears ringing. A few seconds after, I opened my eyes. The screaming stopped, and what I saw then was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen or will ever see in my entire life. I was not laying in the room anymore. I was somewhere else, somewhere not on planet Earth. The waters were blue and clear. The birds were loud and bigger than normal. The grass was smooth and the sun was shining on my body, making me feel warm. The sky was not blue. It was the kind of orange-red sky you only see when you watch the most beautiful sunsets. I was feeling free and happier than ever. The time I spent there was soon over because I awoke soon after. It was time to wake up. This was the last time in my life I had a good night of sleep. I was sure that I had to open that box. I wanted to go there, to this other place. This day I took the box outside. With me I took a hammer. I was preparing myself to open the box when I heard a strange noise coming out of it. Seconds after, the box was turning and glowing in a dark red. I was afraid, but I remembered my dream the night before and took all my courage. Then the screams began. These screams were so loud in my ears, so awful to hear, but they didn't stop like in my dream. They went on, screaming so loud, louder and louder every second. I closed my ears and tried to stay calm. The box opened up and I bent over. I wanted to go to that place so bad, but there was no dust coming out of it. There was something else. What I saw then will always be burnt in my memories. There was blood in the box. It was full of dark blood. The blood formed itself into something like a snake and started to come towards me. I stood there in shock. The blood started to come up my leg, going higher and higher. Wherever the blood went, I felt burning. It burned like hell. And it was. It was hell, the beginning of my own personal hell. When the blood reached my face, it started to go into my eyes. I was not able to move. My eyes burned, and every last drop of the blood went into them. The last thing I remember from that day is that I fell to the ground. I woke up in a hospital. There were monitors all around me. Where was I and why was I there? I opened my eyes quickly and tried to move myself, but I had no strength at all. I soon heard someone coming in. It was my mother. But why did she look so different? She looked so much older. When she came, she started crying and hugged me tight. I lifted my head and looked at my arms. Why were they so big? I tried to talk, to ask all those questions I had. It was hard. My voice was very weak. "Mom, what happened?" I asked. The second I said that, I realized that my voice was deeper. Not much deeper, but kind of deeper. "Honey, don't worry, I will tell you everything later. You need to rest now, lay down. The doctors have to make some tests," she answered fast and went away so the doctor could come and check me out. He looked at the monitor, back at me, moved my arms and my legs, told me to say different things, to see if I was functioning. And I was. After they made all those tests, I was able to talk to my mother. She sat down beside me and started talking. "Omnia, my dear, this will not be easy for you. Tell me, what do you remember last?" I started. Thinking. I was thinking long. My answer was simple. "I don't know, Mom." And I really didn't know. I knew if I told her about the blood, she would not believe me, and that is all I could remember. I did not know anything else. "Honey, do you know how much time has passed? Do you know how old you are?" she asked. I remembered that I was 8 years old when it happened, but I knew I was bigger now. I just shook my head. "Omnia, you are not 8 years old anymore. In fact, very much time has passed. You are 15 years old, honey. You were in a coma for more than 7 years. They all said that you would never wake up, but I knew you would." I was 15 years old. I lost 7 years of my life. How could that happen to me? We talked about many more things. She explained what happened when I was gone. In the end, I had to stay one more day in the hospital. My mother went home after I made her do it. She wanted to stay, but I wanted to be alone. I needed time to process everything. I got up on my own and walked for the first time in 7 years. The weird thing was that I was able to do all of this. Walk, talk, everything I should have forgotten while I was in a coma. I did not. That night was the first night I knew that everything would change. I went to the bathroom and looked in the mirror. I saw myself the first time after 7 years, and when I saw that my dark hazel eyes were not hazel anymore but blue, and my hair was not blonde anymore but a dark brown, and my skin was pale like snow, but my lips were as red as blood, I started to cry like I was still 8 years old. I was not myself anymore. I fell to the ground and wept for what felt like ages. Then I felt a hand on my shoulder. I turned around and saw a woman beside me. She was no nurse because she wasn't dressed like one. I didn't know her, but she sat down beside me and looked me straight into my eyes. "You are the one," she simply said. I looked at her confused, my face wet from my tears. "Omnia, I want to go home now. I was waiting for so long. I waited for you to wake up, and now it's time for me to go home." I knew what I had to do, even though I was confused like never before in my life. I took her hand and stood up. We stared at each other for a long time. She was smiling and I felt like I was ready. I just knew that I was ready to bring her home. She walked off me, and then I felt pain like I never felt in my life before. I felt death. I felt her death. She bled out. Just as her body drained out of blood, mine did too. I felt everything, every drop that came out of my body, until the very last second. And that was the first person I brought to the other side. Many years have passed since then. I saw them everywhere. Ghosts of people who died and want to pass through me. Souls who want to go to the other side. I am now 25 years old. I feel death every single day. In the beginning, there were only good people. But just like in our world, there are also bad people on the other side. But it's getting harder and harder. There are demons that want to pass me to come into our world. They are strong, sometimes. I feel like they are stronger than I am. But it's my job to hold the door closed. I now understand what I am and how everything works. I will explain it to you all, and I hope you will never be the chosen one. If you are, listen to me very carefully. There is always one chosen one in our world. When the last chosen one dies or decides to die, a new one is coming. To become the chosen one, the blood of the dead chosen one has to get into your system. As the chosen one, you only have one job. You keep the door shut for those who want to come to our world, and open the door for those who want to pass on to the other side. Not everyone can be the chosen one. You all know my name by now. It's Omnia. Do you know what Omnia means? It's Latin, and it means everything. And that is exactly what you have to be able to become the chosen one. You are everything. You are the keeper of the dead and the savior of the living. Sound great, right? You are the hero of the world. No, it is not. It's just pain you feel. Death is never painless, you know. It always hurts. You know what way to die is the worst? Burned to death. You can feel your skin slowly burning off your body. You can even smell your own flesh as it burns. Then you would normally just faint and not feel anything. As the chosen one, you can't just faint, you feel everything to the last second, and let me tell you, it really fucking hurts, and it fucks you up mentally. In the end, you are still a human being. So now you know, and I am saying goodbye with this. I can't take it anymore, I need to go home now. I will have to wait till the new chosen one finds my box with my blood inside it. Then I will be able to pass and rest in peace, habeo emeritus.